Welcome. You're listening to Frostbytes, a gaming podcast. We're here with Cassie, Mann, and Spencer McPhee, the coolest co-hosts in the world.
If we do say so ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit biased, but
Just a little bit. Smidge.
Yeah. How's it going? How are you doing?
Great. I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. It's nice to see you.
Yeah,
I
you
haven't
too.
seen you in a couple weeks.
Been a minute.
Yeah.
Been a minute since we recorded, but we did see each other pretty recently.
We did.
But you went on a pretty cool vacation.
I did. I went to Portugal last week for a friend's wedding,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Give me some highlights.
The tarts were incredible. I actually didn't try one until our last day, and me and Shia went into Lisbon for the day. Got some new tattoos. People
Yes.
on the stream can watch. I got a Master Sword from Legend of Zelda, of course, and I got No Face from Spirited Away.
It looks so good.
They look great.
Yeah.
Shout out to Marta for doing these. She's an apprentice and killed it. I
Yeah.
want to get so many tattoos from her. And they're just from her Flash too. And everything she posted on her Flash, I was like, oh, I want, after I said I wanted these two,
Mhm.
she posted a Avatar The Last Airbender Flash. And I was like, oh, fun. I was like, I wish I had more money and time. And
Yeah.
also don't want her to be just tattooing me the whole day. Anyways, amazing tattoos. So cool. Great person. But we went into Lisbon to get the tattoos,
Mhm.
but we were in the tattoo shop the entire day, 10 hours,
Wow.
because Shai got a tattoo. I got two tattoos.
Mhm.
And, but at the end of the day, we were just like, okay, we need to do something in Lisbon.
Right.
So we went downtown, and Marta actually recommended this place with the tarts, and it was a nice local spot, and we bought 12
Nice. 12 tarts.
12 tarts.
Yeah.
And we ate them for dinner. And they
Nice.
were fresh and just so good.
Nice.
So that was a highlight. Got to see some really cool castles and palaces, and all of the architecture and the buildings are really old, built in 1300s
Yeah.
kind of era. And yeah, it's just really amazing. Got to just hang out by the pool. I read a book. Got to see my best friends get married,
Yeah.
and it was really cool.
Yeah. Which book did you read?
I read Star Wars Jedi Battle Scars by Sam Meggs.
Mhm.
It is a good book. It's takes place in between the two Jedi games, Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor.
Cool.
And so now I feel like I can finally play Jedi Survivor. I picked it up last year when it came out,
Mhm.
played it the first day, but it was also the same day that the Tears of the Kingdom
Right.
Switch came out,
Right.
and a couple other things. So Tears of the Kingdom,
You were in Zelda mode.
I was in Zelda mode.
Yeah, because you were playing Breath of the Wild right up until Tears came out.
Yeah. And then I was just full onto that. Also, crazy thing, I got this Master Sword tattoo the day before the 1-year anniversary of Tears
Nice.
of the Kingdom, which is I felt that was really special.
Yeah.
And just
Absolutely.
really cool. Yeah. So that's what I did. What have you been up to?
I've been playing a lot of Balatro. I mentioned Balatro at the very end of our last episode where
Yeah.
we talked about demos.
Mm-hmm.
I just asked, have you heard of it? And I gave a little bit. I've since played 100 plus hours
Nice.
of Balatro.
All right.
If it isn't my personal game of the year, something else fucking insane is gonna have to come out.
Okay.
'Cause
all right.
Balatro is probably top 5 games of all time for me
Wow.
at this point.
That's crazy.
And I'm not tired of it yet. I'm not even close to tired of it
100
yet.
hours in.
Yes.
Cool.
So I love that game.
Go off,
and
King.
I'm gonna try to convince you. I don't know that I necessarily need to convince you. I think you would try it.
I would try it. I just haven't played any games lately.
Yeah,
honestly.
no, you've been busy.
I've been
we
busy.
we actually before you went on your trip, you and I played a show together, which is
We
very
did. Yeah, we played at the ECMAs, the East Coast Music Awards.
cool. Mhm.
With Burry, who is the person that I went to Portugal to watch them get married.
Yeah,
And it was such a fun show. I
it
love
was a
playing
fun
with
show.
you.
It was
haven't
Barbie
played.
themed.
It was Barbie themed. We Spencer dressed up as Alan.
Mhm.
I was wearing a shirt that said Ken on it, and we was wearing all light denim and a denim vest. It was great.
It was sick.
Yeah, it was super cool.
And I think the show itself went really well.
It did.
You know?
Yeah. Great stage.
Yep.
Everything sounded great. We played great.
All the sound people were like really nice and like on it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it was super smooth.
Yeah.
It was nice playing with you again, because like we haven't played together since like 2021.
Like I think the last time you and I
2022?
played together was in Wales.
Yeah, true.
I think is the last show.
I think
we
that
did.
is the last show we played
And
together.
that was fall 21, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's been a minute since you and I actually played together.
That's crazy.
So
wow.
yeah. But yeah,
so much fun.
I appreciate you getting me that gig.
Hey,
because I
anytime.
had a great time.
I loved having you. So you sounded great.
Thanks. But so Balatro, right? So
video games.
Video games, because
Yes,
this is a video game podcast. If you didn't know, Frostbytes a gaming podcast. Since the last time we spoke, and since I just like mentioned Balatro, like I said at the end of the last episode, I've streamed it a bit, kind of woven it into like usually trying to do Pokemon stuff. I've since finished Pokemon Violet.
Yes.
And all of the DLC for that. So
Nice.
that's done.
That's done now.
That's done. My Pokedex now is at 1,025 out of 1,025. Wow. So that's all done
huge.
and dusted for now. But yeah, I've been like doing a lot of Balatro on stream in my own time, obviously, just kind of in between. And also kind of like convincing all of my friends to get in on the ground floor of this game, because I just like I think like the really cool thing about Balatro is the immediate understanding of like, you know, how a 52 card deck functions.
Right.
You understand what that is.
Yep.
And you understand what the symbols mean and the numbers, obviously. So that is just like a baseline understanding is a huge strength for this game.
Okay.
Where you can come in on the ground floor with this base knowledge, right? And then you add on to that the jokers and everything and the ways that you can like modify your score in the game. And there are just, I mentioned this last time, I'm just going to say it really quickly right here. There are just so many synergies and things that you can acquire that work together in really cool ways, affecting your score. And the numbers, dude, can get ginormous, okay? These, like, the score, like, you know, initially, the very first round of the game, the number you're trying to hit you're trying to hit a score. You play a hand of five cards, right?
Okay.
And that scores, let's say, it's a flush of hearts, right? Let's say it scores like 200 points or whatever, right? And the first number you're trying to hit is 300. So that takes maybe a couple hands. Maybe you do it in one hand, right? The score can vary depending on your cards. Eventually, it begins at 300.
Yeah.
Eventually, you get into the trillions, quadrillions, so on and so forth, okay? They stop showing the entirety of the number and instead just show like 1.3 numbers after the decimal, e to the something, okay? So the numbers in this game get ginormous. There's so many clips of folks like hitting these insane, crazy numbers. Like they play a hand and it takes a full minute for like everything to like score and happen. And like it starts lagging their computer because so many things are effects and whatever are happening on screen.
Okay.
So all of that to say, like the base understanding for this game is very intuitive. You know, you can get in relatively quickly and intuitively, but the ceiling, both the score and also the like, I don't know, meta understanding of like how to succeed is way up there.
Okay.
Right. And again, there's so many different ways that you can go about. There's no like one correct way to do it.
Right.
Either. You have so many different options, as far as like building. And anyway, so the my friends who I've kind of like gathered around, you know, playing this game, one thing you can do in the game is you can play a seeded run. So you can punch in a code. And then if you and I punch in the same code, then we're going to have the same run. We're going to see the same things in the same order.
Okay.
So I started this thing on my Discord, the Caprio Seed Challenge, and I've challenged my Discord to try to get the highest score they can playing on my seed.
Nice.
And so YG organization, who's cracked at video games, hit like some insane, you know, quintillion number maybe. You know, it's like e to the 18, I think. Nuts stuff. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about Balatro anymore because again, if you haven't seen it or played it yourself, it's like, I think explaining it would be a tough sell.
Okay. Okay.
If you have a PlayStation, one of my friends had an hour-long trial. So it's the entire game, and you just have an hour to play it, and then it kind of like cuts you off after the hour is done. That's the perfect kind of like in for this game, because it's like the perfect amount of time for maybe 1.5 runs.
Okay.
And then that, I think, you understand what the game is, and
then
maybe
you can decide if it's something you want.
Yeah, maybe something cool happens where it kind of hits the likely something cool happens where it hits the dopamine, and you're like, ooh, and you chase that. And anyway, and you've got a PlayStation.
I do.
And I'm pretty sure this is like a PlayStation Plus perk. Where
I actually don't have PlayStation Plus anymore, but I will look into it because it does sound interesting. I saw it on a Beat 'em Ups video actually, and I wanted to try it, but just haven't had the chance. So maybe I'll have to.
It's also it's not going anywhere. It's getting new updates from.
Oh, that's good.
One other thing I did want to mention that's pretty notable about this game is it was made by one guy.
Oh,
there's kind of
a one-man team game.
Yeah, it's just kind of this amazing track record of these incredible games being made by a single person, but he's also Canadian, which is a nice sort of fun fact.
So it's a Canadian one-person game.
Yes.
Just like Tunic.
Just like Tunic, exactly. Well, yeah, very similar to Tunic.
Not in gameplay wise.
No, but just the single Canadian developer
Look at
of
these
it all.
Single Canadian developers killing it.
Yeah, they're doing great work. Anyway, play Balatro. That's the last I'm going to talk about it. Well, maybe not the last I'm going to talk about it, but the last I'm going to like push it
really hard.
Because it's phenomenal.
Well, it seems like a really good game, and I love seeing that it's popping off. I love seeing your Discord going crazy over it. Would you say that this is like a trending game right now? Or do you think it's niche?
I think it maybe feels more popular than it is to me because I'm dialed in.
Right.
But like, I don't know if maybe the internet at large, like, someone who is interested in video games is getting Balatro clips on their Instagram For You page.
Right.
That would be, if there's like kind of crossover into maybe a more mainstream audience. Not that I think Balatro doesn't hit a mainstream audience, but a more viral game, I think would kind of hit people's For You pages,
right? For
lack of a better, without them having already invested in that,
Makes
without
sense.
the algorithm already knowing that they're interested in that. It's already just hitting them as generic gaming.
Right.
That's, I think, when a game is like viral.
Makes sense.
Nowadays.
Okay. So what would you say would be like a viral game these days? Because, before, I remember when like Fall Guys and Among Us and like, what else?
Among Us is huge.
Yeah.
That's front of mind, absolutely, for this idea.
Yeah.
That like
I feel like, there's a lot of games that will kind of trend for a while, and like you'll go on Twitch on your homepage and everyone's playing them.
Yep.
So like, let's talk about what those kind of games are today in 2024. We're in Q2 of 2024 now. What's popular? Do you know what's going on? I don't know.
Yeah. There's been, as far as I can tell, there's been one game will have like its moment, for a few weeks, maybe a month, tops.
And then it'll kind of die down.
And not that it totally dies down, because like I think these games also have maintained, the games that we're going to talk about today have maintained a pretty substantial player base.
Right.
But I just, again, in the like mainstream,
it's like there's a moment where like everyone's kind of
is kind of in on it, seeing clips of it all the time, where it's like you say, everyone on Twitch seemingly is playing it because it's the thing to do. It's like the trendy thing to do.
Totally.
Whether people even enjoy the game, it's just like the game to play.
Yeah.
So that's what they're gonna do. So if they're these like huge like variety personality streamers. So the first one for me, I think Among Us is like maybe the viral game of viral games, as far as like it was during the pandemic, and it was like the perfect just combination of like a party game and also like a game that you can play remote
Mhm.
with friends, where like everyone's at their own thing. But
Yeah, it worked out like when that game came out. Actually, I don't even know if it came out like
Well,
too
it-
soon before that. It was out a little bit
it
before.
had been out, but then I think
But then it
some
kinda, like,
streamers
blew
picked
up,
it up,
yeah.
and then everyone was like, "This is perfect for our situation right
Yeah.
now." Yeah, and everyone I think knows about Among Us at this point.
I think so.
But one more recently that comes to mind is Lethal Company.
Mm.
So were you just like randomly on Instagram getting clips of Lethal Company?
I have seen Lethal Company clips.
Yeah,
I've never played it though.
neither have I.
Okay.
I bought it
You bought it.
because it was huge.
Yeah.
It was the game.
It seems like a funny game.
It seems like a great if you play with friends,
Mhm.
it seems like because all of the clips were like funny things happening to people and then their friends laughing about it.
Yeah.
And part of that had to do with like the in-game voice chat for Lethal Company having this kind of like distorted, like almost like walkie-talkie kind of sound quality
For
to
sure.
it. It wasn't like the kind of, I don't know, clear-ish Discord
Yeah.
sound that we're used to hearing from talking with people. It was, you were getting, there was also like proximity chat
Good old
involved.
proximity chat.
Yeah, and that, as like someone's like talking and then they get smushed and their mic instantly cuts out, and that's pretty fun. It was a lot of like slapstick humor in that way.
Yeah.
And so people, I think the thing with Lethal Company is that funny things were happening to other people and they were sharing clips of it, and everyone was like, I want that to happen with me and my friends.
Mhm.
I want the new funny experiences as well. So I'm going to get this game. It looks like it's just like a vehicle for these like funny things to occur to me and my friends.
Mhm.
I've yet to play it.
All right.
Just like never got around to it. Just the group, a bunch of us bought it.
Yeah.
Just never really organized getting it together, basically. Which is, I think, gonna happen.
Maybe someday.
Maybe someday. Like that's the other thing. Like any of the games that we're gonna mention, like they're not going anywhere.
No, they
But
still exist.
There is. Did you feel any FOMO about Lethal Company?
A little bit.
A
I
little?
mean, like
You're like, I kind of want to be in on the joke.
I've like seen some clips and I'm like, oh, that'd be fun. But honestly, the first thing I would need is to have a group of friends to play it with.
Right. And yeah. But you play Fortnite with a group.
Not all the time, but
Okay.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But
But I don't have like a set group of friends that I like
Sure.
game with all the time.
Okay,
you know?
I got you.
It's just kind of like if someone's on, then
Yeah.
kind of play with them. But.
Yeah. And sometimes the group, I mean, no disrespect by this, but sometimes the group, if they're listening, has kind of a default game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Usually, yeah.
Where like for me, for the longest time, that has just been Overwatch.
Yeah.
Where like we kind of hop on and just the assumption is that we're gonna play Overwatch.
And that's Fortnite for me.
Yeah. And it's like everyone kind of, there's like a baseline of like understanding and enjoyment and skill level as well, where, kind of everyone is at a similar level, I think. And, and so everyone can have a similar amount of enjoyment with the thing. No one's really left out.
Yeah.
You don't have to explain the thing
Exactly.
to anybody new. Everyone just kind of understands and you can jump into a game and it's very fast like
Although
that.
there is something that's exciting about playing a new game together with a group of people.
And
like,
discovering it together.
Yeah. Because like, I've had a couple of games where I've done that. It doesn't happen as much because like games are expensive and often like, it's usually like free games that we'll do that with or something.
Yes.
But like, I feel like a lot of the games now, it's like you have to pay for it and not everyone's like, willing to dish out the cash to try something and not like it necessarily.
Absolutely. Yeah. With free games, it's easier to hop in. Oh my God. There was a free first person shooter, The Finals.
Yes. I've one of my mods actually loves that game.
Nice. And just
Walrus.
Nice.
Shout out to Walrus.
Shout out Walrus. We love Walrus.
Was super stoked for that game.
Yeah, and one of the nicer things about it was that it's free, and so you can just kind of try it with a group of friends,
Yeah.
and maybe you stick with it, and that's great. And then for the devs and the publishers, you know, like if anyone that sticks with it, maybe you're gonna buy cosmetics, whatever. But at least just it's the same reason why like demos are a good idea is just to get people in the door, so they can try the thing to see if they like it first. Because
personally, I feel like a lot of those like group games, like online like games that you play with other people, I think it's better if they're free and then have paid cosmetics, because it gives everyone the option to play them. Like I feel like, you know, like Pal World, I never played it. I know there's probably some other reasons why I didn't play it, but one of them was that you had to buy it, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna try this game,
right?
Because I'm not gonna waste my money on it if I don't know if I'm gonna like it.
Right. Yeah, it's tricky to convince an entire group. Like if you're the only one who's excited about a new game and you're trying to convince your friends to buy it, even at $20, like not everyone's gonna.
Yeah, exactly.
Like people are busy, you know, and maybe they're content with the default game.
Yeah.
So then I experienced some FOMO with Lethal Company. I felt like I kind of missed the boat on it a little bit when it was like happening, but I think that's my own issue, right? I think I need to like the game isn't going anywhere. No. My friends aren't going anywhere.
True.
We all bought it. We just haven't gotten around to playing it yet.
But I guess it's like when the craze passes, is it something that people are still interested in? Like I know a couple of times I've said to my friends, I'm like, we should play Fall Guys sometime, because like I think that game is super fun. It can be super fun, but the big like craze of it is kind of like over.
It's come and gone.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I feel like it's not as popular these days.
Do you think that affects people's like perception of like the quality of the game, or maybe just their willingness to play it?
I think mostly just the willingness to play it, because it's like, that game's old. Like,
right.
Would rather play something else, you know?
I think that's real. Yeah. And it's no fault to the game, but
no, not necessarily. It's just,
it's like a weird psychological thing, you know. But you mentioned Pal World. So the one thing about Pal World, as far as the accessibility of it, is it was on or it still is on Game Pass.
Oh,
yeah. But I mean, if you didn't have Game Pass, then you still had to pay.
I do have Game Pass.
But if you didn't, I mean, you still would have, you know. Yeah. But you also mentioned there were other reasons surrounding Pal World about maybe why you wouldn't. And you know what, when that game was new, I had said to you, maybe even on this podcast, that I
think so.
I didn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
Now that a little bit of time has passed and we can look at that game with the benefit of hindsight,
would you pick it up?
I might try. I'm not like against it per se. Yeah. I'm just more of a Pokemon fan.
100%.
And this is an 3D open world game. There isn't any menu-based battling the way there is in Pokemon. It's they are way less like one.
They're not this as much like they're not as similar as it seemed like they were at first.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. There was all this hullabaloo in the beginning, you know, Pokemon with guns. Yeah. That whole marketing thing, genius, by the way. It worked, you know.
It got the name out there.
But mechanically it's not Pokemon. Yeah. And
they definitely like copied a lot of Pokemon designs though, I think.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
like they're different, but like there's some very like it's like, you know, almost too obvious
for sure.
I don't know. Anyways, Pal World. So.
Yeah, that whole both sides. Yeah, the Pal World stands and the Pokemon defender, the Pal World defenders and the Pokemon stands, I guess. Yeah, both were insufferable.
True. This is true.
Because the Pokemon fans were like slinging false facts.
They were just being.
Yeah. They were like, there was AI. There wasn't. They stole designs. They didn't. Did they borrow? Yeah, that's really hard to prove. And I'm sure like if there was any
they were inspired by.
Sure. If there was, I feel like if there was any grounds, Nintendo would be down their throat yesterday.
Yeah.
Nintendo would have been down their
The
throat before the
Nintendo
game
ninjas
ever came
would have
out.
got them.
Got them right away.
Yeah.
So anyway, and this is kind of old news in regards to Power World, but it did have a lot to do with the game being just everywhere.
Yeah.
Just everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was talking about it because it was such like it was like controversial.
Exactly.
It was like way less about the game itself and way more about like the
controversy
divisiveness
of it, for
and I that's almost like a detriment to the game because some people I think like played it and were like, that's it. Other
Fair
people
enough.
played it and were like, this is my jam. This is exactly what I've been looking for. One of my best friends said, I watched him play Power World pretty soon after the release. He was just like streaming it for me on Discord one day. And he was like, this is perfect for me. He was like,
Sweet.
I love this.
Yeah.
And so for anyone for whom Power World like scratched an itch for, phenomenal.
Yeah.
For anyone who's like, I've wanted Pokemon to do something along these lines for years, and then this is that for them, fantastic. Like
Sweet.
I no ill will or anything towards the game or anyone who plays it.
That's similar with like Genshin Impact. A lot of people compared that to Breath of the Wild.
Right.
But like, I'm sure it was very similar where when Genshin came out, that a lot of people were just like, oh, this is like copying Breath of the Wild, yada, yada, yada. But now it's like it has its own group of players.
Yes. Yeah. It's like a gut instinct for people to defend their thing. If they feel like something else is encroaching on their thing, they're like, that's my thing. How dare you come, attack my thing.
And they're probably worried like that this new thing is going to be better than the thing that they like. But also just let people like whatever they want to like.
Yes, they can exist.
They can coexist.
They can coexist. Thank you. Yes, perfect.
Yes.
Anyway, but I mean, Power World had, if I can talk about specifics, one of the best ideas was catching progress. Have you seen any game? You must have seen gameplay.
I've watched some people stream Pal World.
Yeah.
And that is one of the games that I was kind of just like, oh, I kind of want to play that.
Right.
Because it looked cool.
Yeah.
It looked interesting.
Yeah,
It looked like it was like a different kind of game that I haven't played before,
Right.
But yeah, it looked like there was a lot of really cool aspects to that game.
So one of the cooler ideas that game has for me that could be legitimately implemented in Pokemon games, I feel, is catching progress.
Yeah.
So when you throw a Pal Sphere, I think.
Is that what they're called?
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Power World enjoyers, but I think it's a Pal Sphere. If you throw that at a Pal, it has a % chance of like basically hitting a checkpoint within the progress of catching a Pokemon. Catching Pokemon, I've realized, catching legendaries in Pokemon is one of my least favorite things because it's literally just it's the same every time, Sometimes it's a little bit interesting and there's a little bit of strategy depending on the moves that the legendary has, if they're healing or whatever, right? But for the most part, it's just getting them down to like 1 health and then throwing Ultra Balls until it gets caught. And it's not really interesting.
Yeah.
There's no strategy, it's not interesting. So one idea from Pal World that I think if implemented in Pokemon would be phenomenal is this like idea of like ball progress, I guess.
Right.
Or checkpoints.
Right.
Like if a Pokeball shakes, keep that shake for future shakes. You know what I mean? Give me some amount, even if it's like, because Power World gives like this like meter out of 100%. I don't think Pokemon would ever show stats like that on a Pokeball, but I think the shake idea, right? If you get 1 shake, you're at minimum 1 shake. So there's just some amount of like
the 1 shake.
Feeling like you're getting somewhere when you're catching something because you'll just like all the time, it'll shake 3 times and then the guy will pop out,
and you're like, no, I was so close.
Classic triple shake fake, right? Triple shake. And I hate the triple shake fake because it's just like you're so close to being done with this like menial task.
Yeah.
Of just throwing Ultra Balls for like 15 minutes so you can move on and actually play the game. Anyway, that's my spiel. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. But yeah, Power World had some other ideas, but that to me was a huge one that I was like, if mainline Pokemon implemented that would be huge.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pal World was, I mean, definitely one of those games that kind of feel like came and went, you know? Like, I feel like people aren't really talking about it now as much.
Absolutely.
But another game that seemed to kind of have that same kind of, like, popularity spike was Helldivers 2.
Yes.
I feel like that was one that people, like, I don't know, people anticipated that game a lot. I didn't know much about it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really get into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Have you played it?
Yep.
How is that game? Like, I feel like that's one that I saw a lot of people playing when it came out as well.
Yep. This one, this was another like multiplayer game where, you know, a bunch of my friends were like, we're going to get this game together. And then we actually followed through on that.
You actually did it.
Where
Nice.
Lethal Company we bought, but we didn't play. Helldivers we actually bought and played together.
Sweet.
Which is so great. I don't think I would play Helldivers solo because for me it is the most fun with friends. Yeah. Because it's similar to Lethal Company, it has these funny kind of clippable moments. And before any of us bought Helldivers, that was part of like these were seeping into my For You page again, very similar to Lethal Company, where like I was seeing these funny clips. And Helldivers in particular has like in-world like comedy and just it's like satirical politics, I guess. It's like its whole thing is like for freedom, for democracy, you know, you're a throwaway soldier fighting for Super Earth against alien bugs and robots. Right? And like you'll die and you'll respawn as a completely different person just to reinforce the idea that you are disposable. You're like, you may build a character, but like the character you built isn't respawning. Some other rando is respawning.
Okay.
And so there's a whole bunch of, you know, like there's like war propaganda, you know what I mean? It's like poking fun at a lot of real world stuff right now. Anyway, but so there's parts of that people, when they're playing on voice comms, because again, like in-game voice, someone dies, their mic gets shut. I'm pretty sure, at least for Helldivers. So there's a lot of like people almost role playing the Super Earth soldier, where they're like saluting, you know, fellow soldiers, and there's so many clips of people questioning the ethics, or like should we actually be, maybe we should, you know, try to be a little more diplomatic with these people, with these bugs and robots that we're fighting. And then like two of the guys on the guy's team will like fire away and be like treason. And anyway, so yeah, just the world of Helldivers lends itself to these comedic moments. Right. And the community surrounding Helldivers is like, so they're 1,000% bought in. Right. You know, they're so committed to the bit. Yeah. You know? Did you see the PlayStation stuff that happened recently with Helldivers?
I did not.
No?
What happened?
So PlayStation, Sony publishes Helldivers 2. Yeah. It was developed by Arrowhead Studios. Okay. Who, I mean, they made Helldivers 1, which played similarly to 2, only the original was a top-down, kind of like a Diablo situation. They also made Magicka years ago, if you remember that one. But yeah, Arrowhead developed the game, and Sony published the game. And this stat came out recently where Helldivers 2 is Sony's 7th best-selling game of all time.
Whoa.
Yeah. Sony's 7th best-selling game of all time.
Of all time.
Yeah. And only, you know, because they published it, but Arrowhead made it. Anyway, so Sony, I think not this past weekend, but the weekend before, made it so in order to play Helldivers, you had to sign up for a PlayStation Network account, where previously, like, you had the option to connect your PlayStation Network account if you had one already. But then they were like, hey, if you want to play Helldivers, you have to create an account. And PlayStation Network isn't even available in like a bunch of countries. So anyone who bought the game on Steam and then had to sign up for a PlayStation Network account was just fully locked out of playing the game that they bought for. Exactly. And so Arrowhead, so here's another thing, right? You know how like Call of Duty will have like double XP weekends?
Sure. No,
But
I don't.
you know, okay, well, you know how like Pokemon will have like terror raid events over weekends. Like
Right.
video games will have
Fortnite will have stuff like that too. Where they'll
yeah,
have,
just
like, you'll
some
get, like,
sort of
bonus,
event
like,
over the
stuff.
weekend. So Helldivers has these major orders where the community at large will have to like kill a billion automatons or bugs or whatever, right? And like if you succeed by Sunday night, then everybody gets a reward. You know, something like that. So Arrowhead, the developers, in real life, I think on Twitter, said, "Hey guys, major order, review bomb our game on Steam to show Sony PlayStation that this is not okay. And ideally, if they, you know, reverse this decision, you know, change your review, but at least at the time, for the time being, make your voices heard." And sure enough, it plummeted completely. They were review bombing Helldivers 1 even, and just you know, and anyway, so
get the point across.
by the end of the weekend, it's almost like it was staged. Sony put out a tweet that was like, "Hey, we heard your feedback, and we're gonna not do that." So anyway,
so you don't need to use a PSN account anymore.
Yes, you can just play the way you could previously with Helldivers. So
I think any game that does that kind of stuff where they like make you sign into a Microsoft account or make you sign into a PlayStation account or a Battle.net or whatever, you know, whatever everything makes you do, like, so annoying. Just let me play the game.
Yeah. So with Helldivers, I think I do have like a little bit of a skewed maybe perception of how viral it is, quote unquote, just because I am
a player.
I'm a player. I like follow like a Helldivers account on Instagram. So now the algorithm's like, okay, so you like this.
You
so
like
we're gonna,
this.
But even before that, it was still, when it was like new and like big, it was showing me stuff.
Yeah.
Before I ever bought it and played it.
Yeah, it's showing me stuff too. And I've never played it. I think I've watched like one stream of it, but I've seen people streaming it. So it seems like it's a popular one out there.
Of the three that I mentioned, this one has the most staying value for me, or like staying, like I could see Helldivers 2 in the Game of the Year conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
Where Palworld, I think, was more of a flash in the pan.
Yeah, I mean,
Lethal Company was last year anyway, right? But
right.
Anyway, so yeah, I mean, of the three, I mean, play what you want. I mean, it's, you know, if you've got Game Pass, play Palworld. But you're checking Twitch right now.
I'm checking Twitch. I want to see, like, of the people that I follow, what's
hip and happening.
Now, you know, looking at it right now, I think it is a little skewed because I follow a lot of Fortnite people.
Yes.
So it is kind of just like mostly Fortnite stuff.
Right.
But if, I don't know, maybe if I just go to like general like games browsing and just kind of see like what's popular right now.
Yeah. I don't know that there's anything released recently that's like
I don't think there's anything super recent.
There was something not like fully released, but the Hades 2 came out as early access on Steam.
I saw.
And so there have been a few people I've noticed playing through early access Hades 2.
Okay. I'm excited for that. I still have to play through the first Hades.
Yeah, me too.
But I have it. And I've been meaning to play it.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll get into that soon because I'm not going to play early access Hades 2. I'll probably wait till it comes out on Switch.
Yeah. I'm in a similar boat as you, where I think the early access is great for folks who are really excited about it. But I think, I mean, maybe if I played Hades 1, I would be like chomping at the bit for Hades 2. But currently, I'm okay to wait for Hades 2 to properly come out.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do is just wait for it to actually come out. But it looks so good. And I've only seen like good things about it, you know?
Yeah. And then another pretty major release. I don't know that it's necessarily viral, but I think as far as like games of the year are concerned, this is one that we're going to be talking about again, I think.
Okay. What is it?
Animal Well.
I've never heard of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Explain this game to me. What is this?
Okay. So, are you familiar with Video Game Donkey?
Yes.
You are? Okay. So he and his wife started a publishing thing called Big Mode. And Animal Well is their first game.
Okay.
And I mean, Donkey has made a career of being, you know, pretty outspoken and only really uplifting, truly notable video games, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I would say he doesn't necessarily fall for maybe what's trendy or whatever.
Okay.
He's not afraid to call something out if it's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's kind of been he's very honest. And so when he was like, "Hey, I'm going to get into publishing and I'm only going to try to push quality video games with this
Right.
because I only believe in pushing quality video games." So Animal Well has been developed by one guy.
Mm-hmm.
This is a trend.
Okay.
This guy's name is Billy Basso,
Mm-hmm.
and he worked on Animal Well for the better part of 7 years.
Wow.
Just on his own, solo. And when I say solo, I mean everything down to the engine of the game he made himself.
He made his own engine.
Yes. So,
Okay.
Animal Well, before you play it, do not look anything up about it. Trailers, sure, right?
Okay.
Like Donkey himself on his YouTube channel put out a video that included like a little bit of a pseudo interview, I guess, with Billy Basso. It was pretty tongue in cheek, but you know, and then some footage. But for the most part, Animal Well is a game about secrets, finding secrets. It is a 2D pixel game, platformer.
Yeah.
Metroidvania.
Okay.
Which, by the way, side tangent, Metroidvania as a genre, not great if people don't know what Metroid or Castlevania are.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll stick with it for now because it's a category, it's a genre, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes. At level 1, I guess, there are tiers. There are I don't know. There are levels, I guess, to Animal Well. And the first level is that it is a Metroidvania. And you can play it as if you would play a Metroid or Hollow Knight or Castlevania or whatever, right? Where there's a beginning and an end and you have to go through rooms and there's exploration. There's very little, there is some, but there's less of an emphasis on combat in the game and way more of an emphasis on puzzle solving and exploration and paying attention to your surroundings.
Okay.
It really wants you to like slow down.
Cool.
And actually like take in the rooms that you enter because there are so many, everything in this game is like purposeful and intentional.
Cool.
And leads to a puzzle.
Oh.
So you can beat the game. You can see credits.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And you can play a pretty good Metroidvania.
Yeah.
There is then another level. There are these eggs that you can find as you traverse. And
literal eggs.
There are these eggs that you can find. And that's the whole thing about the game is you play as this like little egg character guy.
Oh, cute.
And there's these like pixelated animals and you know, throughout the world, some of them are fine, peaceful, some of them will attack you, right?
Okay, good to know.
But there are these eggs that you can find and they have their own mysteries. And then there's a deeper level that I don't even know. Because anyone that I've heard even speak about the third level has been like, I don't know where to begin and I don't even know what to say about the third level because I don't want to ruin anything for anybody.
All right.
So it is the ultimate like discover at your own pace. But I've also heard from anyone who's spoke about this game on other video game podcasts that it has been enjoyable to discover this game along with people. So if you and I, for instance, like maybe started around the same time and we sort of shared what we had like discovered because we're going to do things in a different order.
Yeah.
And we're also going to discover, we could both see credits and see completely different things.
Great.
So the game has a lot.
Yeah.
Billy Basso put a lot into this game. Again, a lot of intention, a lot of care, a lot of heart went into this game. And I think, again, if it's not in the Game of the Year discussion in December, this is going to have to be a hell of a year. But
all right.
like this one is a must play.
Cool.
Yes.
I'll have to
And
look into it.
It's not that expensive. It's like $30.
Okay, cool.
It's on Switch, it's on PlayStation 5, on Steam.
Great.
It's 10% off on Steam right now, even.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's like an early. Anyway. I haven't played it yet. And I'm very excited about it. I'm excited to start it.
Are you going to take a break from Balatro to...
Yeah, I mean, probably. You know, I've played 100 hours of that, and Balatro's not going to go. None of these games are going anywhere. Like, that's the thing about virality, is it's only really important to, like, I don't know, the masses. But for you personally, play games at your own pace.
Yeah.
Buy them when you want. Buy them when they're on sale. Whatever. You know, it's, I think, like with Lethal Company, for me, you know, I had a little bit of FOMO. That's a me thing. That's not a Lethal Company thing.
You know, I think I've talked about this on the podcast before. I've definitely had a lot of that. Like, you know, not this year, but the past years, I bought every game that I was interested in on release day. And this year I've stopped doing that. I will say, you know, my goal at the beginning of the year when we talked about our gaming goals for the year was to not pre-order any games. I have pre-ordered a game.
Paper Mario.
Paper Mario.
Me too.
That's the only one.
Because
at GameStop in Canada, the pre-order bonus is a sleeve that looks like the GameCube cover. And it looks really cute.
Isn't that just devious of them, though?
So devious.
They're just like,
this is how we're going to get those pre-orders.
They know that we will pre-order for a fucking piece of paper.
Yep.
And they're right.
They're right. We did it. So if I go in there on May 23rd and they don't have that cover for me.
Riot.
Yep. I'm going to go GameStop. I'm going to riot if they don't give me that pre-order bonus.
I'm going to go to the Halloween store first and get a pitchfork. And then I'm going to go just in case.
Perfect.
I'm going to pre-game with a pitchfork and then
amazing.
make my way to GameStop.
But yeah, so I pre-ordered that game and also it like comes out like 2 days after my birthday. So I was just like, birthday present.
A little present for you.
Birthday present, you know? Yeah, I know the game that I'm getting into. So it's just like, it makes sense to, that was like one that I was excited for.
Anyway.
Yes, me too. So like, it's a good one to have. But besides that, I haven't pre-ordered any games because in previous years, especially with PlayStation games, I find, one, they're really expensive. In Canada, they're $89.99 plus tax, which in Nova Scotia is 15%. So you end up paying like $94 for a video game.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's after taxes,
like after
over 100.
taxes, yeah, it's over 100. But like, you know, it's kind of crazy that it's that expensive, and then I wouldn't play the games.
Right.
I would play them the day they come out, and then I would forget about them because I'd be too busy playing Pokemon or something else.
Right.
You know, and like I would get that FOMO because I'd see people streaming the games day one.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I have to get on the hype.
That. Yeah.
You know, like the hype around it would just, you know, just take me and just made me want to be playing it, which is great for marketing of the game and that kind of stuff. But in terms of like my bank account and me being smart, there's a lot of games that
your time,
my time too. There's a lot of games that I bought that, you know, I still never played through the game, and then I would see them go on sale.
Yeah.
Or it's like if I was just patient and just waited for them to go on sale, then like I could get the game then and then enjoy it then, because I'm going to enjoy the game at my own pace anyways. Like I was saying earlier, I haven't played Jedi Survivor yet.
Right.
I bought it on launch, played it for like not even an hour the first day that it came out. Then there's Tears of the Kingdom stuff. So I was busy in the Zelda world. And I still haven't played it.
Do you think
it's been over a year since it came out?
But with that particular instance with Jedi Survivor, since you didn't play it at release and you've since read the Sam Meggs book for more story, do you think maybe now if you play it, you'll have a richer experience with
Absolutely. That's part of why I waited.
So maybe,
Part of why I waited, for sure. Because I wanted to finish the book before I played it.
Right.
But other games, you know, like Hogwarts Legacy, which I know is also a controversial game in its own, but that game I got on launch, played a bit, like maybe 20-ish hours or so. Maybe not that much.
Oh.
But yeah, no, I'd say around that.
Okay.
But haven't finished it.
Right.
So like still have a lot to do in that game, meaning to go back to it.
Yeah.
Pretty much I haven't finished Mario Wonder. I haven't finished Super Mario RPG.
Right.
Like, there's just a lot of games that have come out that I've bought on release and haven't finished.
Yeah.
So, like, getting caught up in the hype isn't, it's hard to avoid because you see these games everywhere, especially if you're in the gaming world. You get excited about them. You want to play them when everyone else is playing them so you can talk about them, but it's not necessary.
Yeah. I think that's part of it. It's just wanting to feel included in the conversation that other people are happening or other people are having.
Yeah.
And that's huge. For me, at least.
Yeah.
That's just like, yeah, I want to be involved. I want to know
what
all the hubbub's about.
Would we even have a podcast if we weren't into that,
Right. Exactly.
Like we're here to talk about what's going on in the gaming world.
Yeah.
So
simultaneously, I've also been fucking soft resetting for Shiny Charmander for like a year now.
Yeah.
Instead of putting that time towards playing new releases.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the same thing. It's like I'm playing Emerald.
Right.
And that game is not new.
Yeah.
So it's like, obviously, like, there are games that you don't like. A lot of people play games that are not just brand new games.
Absolutely. People play exclusively old games. So there's people who are completely checked out of new releases.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
They're just like, I'm just going to play Tetris on my Game Boy forever.
Yeah. Which, fair enough.
Yeah.
Tetris is great.
Tetris is timeless. So that's virality in video games.
That is.
I think we did it.
I think that's a good take on that, I think that, virality in games it's good for the devs to get their games to a certain popularity.
For sure.
It helps with game sales and all that stuff. And like we said, it's brings people together, gets people talking about games. But
that's a good point.
Just like, if you're in a situation yourself where you are feeling like you have FOMO for a game, just take a step back, think for a sec.
Right.
Do I really need to get this game?
Right.
Yeah.
Or am I just like, do I just wish I was included in what's going on?
Which, like, also super fair to want to be included.
Yeah.
That's not an issue. Like, that's not something you should feel bad about.
Right. Like, I don't know
just
that
be smart,
I don't know that I ever would have purchased Lethal Company if it wasn't like all over my For You page. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. But then maybe I miss out on a cool game.
Maybe.
There's plenty of games that don't like hit it and are great. They just don't reach that kind of audience.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's thousands of great games.
Totally.
That just like we've never heard of. They exist.
This is true.
But just they don't hit the front page of Reddit.
Nope.
For whatever reason. It's the way she goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough for devs out there too. There was some
It is.
Xbox laid off or closed even like 4 studios recently.
Yeah, I saw that. And like there are like some pretty big like studios that have, made some of Xbox's like biggest games.
Yeah. Yeah. The biggest surprise I think is Tango, who made Hi-Fi Rush last year. That one came out of the blue and did critically well. Everyone who played it loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, I played Hi-Fi Rush. Well, I started it. I haven't finished it. But really good game. The gaming space right now it's in a weird spot.
Is volatile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are losing jobs left, right, and center.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's weird out there. And you were saying too, with PlayStation, like they don't have anything this year.
Neither does Nintendo.
Yeah.
Xbox is.
I mean, there's going to be a Nintendo, the next Nintendo Direct. There was a tweet. It was a pretty like unceremonious tweet.
There was a tweet.
Right? From Nintendo.
Saying that they're going to have a Direct in June, which is like really cool to talk about what's coming up for the Switch this year.
Like holiday season.
I'm sure won't be a whole lot, honestly. Yeah. They did also mention that they have a successor to the Switch.
Yeah, they confirmed that it
confirmed
exists.
it exists, but they haven't confirmed when it's releasing or anything about it. They said they confirmed that this Direct in June will not be talking about it.
Right. And that it isn't coming this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
pretty wild, just like bomb to just a tweet.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
Tweet, just all of a sudden, oh, by the way,
Yeah.
there is something coming after the Switch.
Yeah.
We won't tell you about it though.
Yeah. It's really funny how Nintendo will just like drop a bomb on Twitter.
Yeah.
You know, they'll have entire directs that are like snooze fests, and then they'll drop like the biggest news of the year on Twitter.
On Twitter.
So funny.
Whatever. Do what you gotta do, you
they're
know?
silly.
Yeah.
Those Nintendo fellas.
Good old Nintendo.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what happens though, but it does, you know, I feel like 2023 was such a huge year for gaming.
Yeah.
That I'm okay with 2024 being kind of chill.
But this is the thing is like we expected that 2024 would be chill.
But it's still there's still stuff going on.
There's been like fucking I didn't expect to love this weird poker themed card game so much and play 100 plus hours of it.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
Yeah, true.
And then fucking it completely took over.
Yep.
You know, so games
there's still stuff.
Games happen, and then you're like, this is my new favorite thing. Yep. This is my whole. I'm revolving my entire personality around this card game.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna stop talking about Balatro
now. All of our podcast listeners are just gonna be like,
it's like we get it. You like the card game.
You
move
like
on.
Balatro. Okay, it's fine. Oh, crazy. All right. Well, you know, I think that's a good place to finish up.
I think we did it.
Is there anything new in the Pokemon world these days?
This weekend, last weekend was the first weekend for the 7-star fairy type pre-marina raid. So this coming weekend is the second round of that happening.
Cool.
So this weekend's your last chance to get that. Again, that's a fairy type pre-marina. The 7-star raids feel like less cool now that all of the starters are just in the games.
Right.
I'm still gonna get it. It's just less exciting because previously there were how you would get that species in your game, and now they're just I'll get it for the mightiest mark, basically.
Right.
But I don't need that species in my game anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is what it is.
You got them all now.
I did do the thing. I did do the slogan or whatever. Gotta catch them all.
Gotta catch them all.
Did it.
Catch them.
And then otherwise, there's a couple mystery gifts. That there's a Gyarados that's available now, and there's a Quaxley coming soon. I think the Quaxley is going to have a partner mark. They have
kind of like the
Sprigatito. Yeah, this is very similar where it's like a tie-in with the show. It's a Quaxley that belongs to one of the characters in the new show.
Cool.
Which I haven't seen yet.
I haven't seen it either.
But I think on Canadian Netflix, I don't think we've gotten it yet.
No,
but if you use a VPN, you could
watch it.
You could start
cool.
Horizons.
Sweet.
That's pretty much it for Pokemon. Hasn't been any new Legends EA news, but maybe in June, around the time Nintendo does their Direct, Pokemon might do a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Not even a Pokemon Presents, but even the Nintendo Direct might even include a Legends EA something.
Cool. That'd be cool.
So we'll see.
Sweet.
Anything going on in Fortnite?
Well, there was just a big Star Wars update because May 4th happened, and that's when Star Wars stuff happens. So Fortnite had a whole because Fortnite has Battle Royale, the Rocket Racing Festival, and Lego. They had Star Wars stuff for each of those different modes.
Cool.
Which is really cool. Especially the Lego section had a huge Star Wars update, which is great because Lego Star Wars is one of the best games I've ever played. I have core memories playing Lego Star Wars and still love it. And so there's a big Star Wars update. I think that's still in the game right now. I think very soon, within the next couple of weeks, there's going to be a new season.
Okay.
And there's supposedly this Pandora's Box event that's going to happen right now in the game in the Battle Royale game on the map. There's this huge chest, and it glows, but it doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm assuming something with that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Are they still doing like the Greek gods or the?
Yes. Yeah, it's still like the Greek kind of theme going on with like there's like, yeah, that's pretty much what this season has been.
Cool.
The whole season. So
nice.
Yeah.
That sounds
but
fun.
It's good. I've enjoyed this season a lot.
Nice.
They had like the Avatar: The Last Airbender stuff, and that was like.
Yeah, I like what they did where
great.
they made bending, like the different bending styles or elements like weapons.
It was so good. Airbending was like a movement thing, which was super fun.
Yeah, it looked really cool.
Yeah. It was really great.
Yeah.
I got like, I spent way too much money on all the Avatar stuff, but I'm a huge Avatar fan, so I had to do it.
And did Fortnite Festival add like any Star Wars music?
Yes, they added the Cantina Band.
Oh, of course they did.
Yeah.
I should have known. Oh, that's so cool.
I think there might have been a couple of other songs too, but Cantina Band was like the main one.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And there's like a Lando Calrissian skin and like
sick.
Yeah, some cool new ones. So
cool.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we did it, I think.
Episode 9 of
Episode 9 in the books. Yeah. Thanks so much for watching live, everyone here live. We appreciate your company always. And, we're going to talk about some more stuff during the post show, which, the podcast that gets uploaded after, right?
Yes.
Only here's the main part, but you got to be here for the post show.
Yeah. So
and the pre-show.
If you didn't know, we stream the podcast live on Twitch once a month. Well, we try to do it once a month.
Yes, to the best of our ability.
To the best of our ability. Sometimes, things happen. But we stream, we do the hour-long podcast live. You get to see it happen raw in the flesh, but we do a pre-show and a post-show before and after we do the actual podcast. It's where we just chat. We just hang out, chat. We just talk about whatever. We answer questions. We do, because we don't really talk to chat during the podcast, but before and after, we hang out, we vibe. Sometimes we play games.
Sometimes.
Occasionally.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a good time. So if you feel like watching the podcast live, you should come hang out.
Yeah. Where can people watch the podcast live, Cassie?
Twitch.tv/just_Kyashi, which is my channel.
Yeah.
And that's where we do it.
Nice.
But, if you don't watch it live, you might be listening to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, watching it on YouTube.
Yes.
Who knows?
You should watch it on YouTube because how else are you going to see Cassie's cool new tattoos?
On the Twitch stream, but
true. Oh yeah, that thing we just talked about. Right.
But yes. And I mean, if you want, you could like listen to it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and then also watch it. But then you'd just be watching the same thing. So whatever, like choose wherever you enjoy podcasts the most.
Exactly.
You can listen, you can watch it, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we make it available for wherever you need it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Sick. I think we did it.
Great job.
Thanks
again, everyone, for listening. Frostbytes out.